Welcome to this new episode of The Disabled Life. The purpose of this podcast is to tell people live my life. The name I'm using on the podcast now is The Disabled Guy, because I felt that you needed to hear something as opposed to just my voice there. I'm a disabled man living in Florida with cerebral palsy. I'm here to tell you how I live my life and some of the volunteer work that I do and how I managed to do it with cerebral palsy. Without further ado, let's go into the episode. Hopefully, the third time's the charm here. I've tried to record this twice. It's the third time. Let me go ahead and into here and tell you some stories. As you know, I have cerebral palsy, and I was in special education classes. So let me tell you some stories there, because this is something that you need to know, because this is something that I'm hopefully changed. So let me say this. All right. Let me start by saying, hopefully hopefully this is not the case. But I'm gonna say something. I had some issues when I was in late elementary school and in early high school, and there were some other things that happened when I was. There were some other things that happened when I was in high school that I found out about when I was in therapy. So let me talk here a little bit about. Okay, I'm not gonna say whether it was. I can't say whether it was in 5th or 6th grade, because I was in a mixed class and all, and due to a surgery that I had, I got held back a year because I missed half a year. So I was in this class with a teacher that she was so strict. She taught, yes, but she was so strict. I believe to this day that I had some PTSD from her. Because I forgot most of the class environment, and also but I remember what she taught, but I only remember the traumatic parts of this class experience. So let's talk about this for a minute so you understand. So okay. So she would say, "Oh, you're always talking back to your parents." I was not. It was all her. It was all on her. So then she, when a therapist would come out to get me, she would say, "Oh, you're always in the corner," or whatever. I said, "Look, it's not me, it's her, because it's constant. You realize it already." So then, I'll tell you this story. So I got sick to my stomach one day, and I got, punished me and put me in the corner, and vomited on me and all this stuff, because I vomited in the school, whatever. In the cafeteria or whatever. So, but this was all due to her. I would take medicine almost every morning when I went to school, anti-nausea meds, which I was like, no. So then, all of a sudden one day, my mom talked to her and let me step back away from the table a little bit, because I was, it would bother me. That's why I would get sick. So then finally, my doctor allowed. We told him what was going on. My mom and I did, and we asked them how I could get some medicine. So then she goes. So then what he had to do was he had to go in there. We had to go in there and do this, and she had to. The doctor had to write a prescription, and we'd take it to school, and they would leave it in the office, whatever. And then before lunch, I would take my medicine, because I knew what was going on. I took it, everything was fine. Okay, that was that. Then, one day, the aide is being lazy and decides that she's going to bring everybody, without asking, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. I'm Latin. I don't like those things. I don't like PB&Js at all. So I didn't eat. And I told my mom, and she goes, oh. And I told her I need, so I told her why. And then she asked me why, and then I told her. So then my mom went, which means she would drop me off at school every day. So she went and talked to her. So it made this she had made the aide go to the cafeteria every day that was we used to go to the cafeteria where all the regular students were. So, she would have to go and come back and do these things. So she had to go and come back and give us and ask us what we wanted, because this was not right. So then what happened is so that's what happened. And then she would do this. Would get us the lunch we wanted. For example, one of the lunches that I liked, there was 3 lunches that I really liked. There was only 3. No, I'm gonna say 4, because I liked the fish sandwich. I liked the fish sandwich, had some cheese on it. It was good. It was alright. Okay, then I had pizza, which was I thought it was good, but then it was mediocre. Yeah, I realized later that it was not good food. Next I liked what they call spaghetti bake. What that means is, for those of you that don't know what a spaghetti bake is you they boil up spaghetti like normal, and they put it on meat, and ground meat. They cook that, they brown that, whatever they do with that. I don't know how they cook that. So then after they do this, then they put cheese on top of it, and they put all this in the oven. That was good food. Okay, that was good food. And meatloaf I also kind of enjoyed, but I didn't like it too much either. So whatever. So then, I was tired of this woman. I was so frustrated and tired with this person. So then, I went to school, and then the next year, they put me in another classroom with another teacher. She was Latin. She would teach a little less. She would teach less, but she was nicer. It was a balance. It was one or the other, which I didn't like. So, she was nice and whatever. And because of this nice run, I asked her if we could. I had my mom ask her if we could bring pastries and things for the kids to eat. And mainly I brought it because I as a thank you to her, because she was very nice, and sometimes they would feed us. They would cook grits and they would feed us grits, whatever. It was nice. It was good. All that was nice. So what ended up happening was, the last year that I was in elementary school, something weird happened. Something weird happened. I was in this class, and I was there with the same one that was with the one that was not nice teacher, the one with all the strict rules and the craziness and whatever. So I'm like, oh God, now here. So then here comes the problem. This is something my mom doesn't know. So I actually had to have surgery. So I asked my mom. I said, So I asked her. I told her I wanted to go on homebound, because I knew that if I would go on homebound, I was gonna be able to leave. I was gonna be able to leave the elementary school. I wanted to leave because I didn't want to deal with another year of this teacher. So then I left. I did homebound, whatever, and so I was invited back. Wait. Before that, I was invited back for my prom. What was my prom? But I'm gonna say something else prior to that. So one day they were showing Placido Domingo, and it was opera. So I'm like, I don't like opera. I was with the teacher that I liked, the Cuban one. So then she, I didn't like the opera thing. So the therapist came and asked me if I wanted to go do therapy. I said, yeah, let's go. So I went and did therapy with her or whatever. And all of a sudden I see, let me do it this another way here. They were doing a talent show in the school. So 2 other people, sorry for that. two of the people from the disabled program were gonna lip sync the roles of Julio Iglesias and Willie Nelson. I'm sorry, Willie Nelson used to be a singer, used to be a Western singer that is now passed away. Rest in peace, Willie. So one thing I'm gonna say. So my mom noticed this, and she wanted, and we were gonna do. I don't know if I told her or what it was, but they had microphones that were not microphone. No, they were not. They were just gonna use markers, which is weird. It didn't look good. So my mom decided to make them microphone-looking things that look like this. Look like a Shure SM458 that I'm talking on here right now. So next, I was in the school. I was in the therapy room with this therapist, and I did not know my mom was gonna go in there and do this for his people. So then the therapy room was facing back to the classroom where I was with the nice teacher. So I was facing back, and I see my sister running around in there. I'm like, because my sister went to school where I went to school for a couple of years because of they couldn't get her to her home elementary school. So okay, it happened. So they finally got her in when I went to middle school. That was interesting. So back to the story. So then I saw her this. So I asked the teacher, not the teacher, the therapist, if I can go to where my mom is in there. She goes, yes, it's okay. But I don't want to get in trouble. She said, I said, no, it's on me. It's with me. Okay, so she let me do this. So I sat there for the rest of the day. So that was that. So then, they did the show, whatever. Now the next thing I'm going to say is, let me jump ahead to a middle school issue. Not an issue, but interesting issue. I was doing therapy with this teacher, this therapist that I kind of knew. She was kind of nice. I said, kind of nice, and I helped her out. So we were talking as we were doing things, because when you're in high school, you talk to parents, and you talk to teachers, and you talk to people. You talk to them more like you're an adult. So we're talking about these paraprofessionals that were scaring people, that were scaring the people that were coming from the middle school to the elementary school. To the high school. Sorry about that. I apologize, and I don't want to start over again. So I said, "Oh, can I go and help them out?" So I went, and she said, "Yes, but you need to get there." Okay. So I took a day off. I took a half day off of school, and I came home, and I went and I spoke to a couple of them, a couple groups, and talked and did these things. But the real funny part is this: that when I after talking for an hour or 2 hours, I got tired. It was dry. So then what happened was I asked the lady I was with. I said, "Hey, can you help me? I need to get a drink." So I went into a teacher's lounge. I was okay because I'm not a student there, so I went in there. I was a guest there. So that was, instead of, they didn't put a pass on me or paperwork saying anything. I just went in there. I'm drinking my soda. I spoke to a few teachers that were just asking me why I was there, and then we had a conversation, and we talked about why. So then this was crazy. So then they leave, but things fine. And all of a sudden I hear this: "Excuse me, you're not supposed to be in here." Quote. "Excuse me, you're not supposed to be in here." Quote a second time, but louder. I'm like, oh no, what is going on? So I'm like, oh God, what is going on? So, and then I tell him, no, I'm a high schooler. I'm doing this and this and talking to these students. So it's like, fine, okay, go. So now let me go. Now let me go to high school, because this is another weird experience that I had. I was in student government. I was somewhat in student government. We were the only people, the only group that were allowed to meet during class hours. I also was in senior and junior class leadership, but they weren't. We weren't allowed. They weren't allowed to meet during class. We had to meet after class. Only student government was allowed to meet during class because they wanted to open up to anybody that wanted it. So that's the way we did it. So we would go into the auditorium. The teachers had to sign a paper excusing us out of the classroom for the period. They would announce and they would say, this day, for example, on this Monday, it would have been first period or second period, and the announcement would have been made so the teachers know, and we would also know. And we would just go to the auditorium in that period, and that's it, no worries. But one day, somehow, they forgot to open the auditorium for us. So then they forgot. So then the president, when we were there in the hallway, we didn't know what to do. So we all waited for him. He comes and he says, okay guys, let's go over to the gym landing. Meaning where the gym was, there was like an open, like stairs, whatever. So we were sitting there talking, doing our meeting, doing our thing. And here comes one of the paraprofessionals. And, I see her, but I'm ignoring her because I know I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm not doing anything wrong. But the funny thing is, I'm in a crowd of people. We're having like a work discussion, basically. We're discussing this, and all of a sudden, excuse any sounds that you hear in the background. So anyway, so then I go on with my day, whatever. Go to class the next period, whatever. So then she decides. So then she decides to tell the teacher that I was on the gym landing with a bunch of people. Don't forget that she had signed a document, excuse me from class that day, because the announcement was made and there was things going on. So then she says to me that next day when I go to class, she has paperwork and things for me to go to CSI. I'm like, what the beep? Yeah, exactly. I don't say anything. I ignore her and I go, okay, give me a day. So I run and I go down to the government president and say, look, I need your help. I got this problem going on. So then he gets me a pass. I take it. Everything is clear. She's clear. She's mad, but she's clear. So I'm gonna go into a story here. Another story. During the same year, during one of these years, there was my senior year. It was my junior year. I ended up in this class with this teacher that was African American, but didn't like us very well. Didn't like the Latins very well. So then she would okay. So we had, I was like, oh, God no. So then I had this girl that had rheumatic fever, and she would put things in her mouth and spit them up, put them on and she threw one at me, and she threw one and it fell in my pants. I don't mean she threw it at me. So it fell in my pants. So I grabbed it with 2 fingers and I dropped it on the ground. Dropped it on the floor. And what happens when this happens? Who gets seen? The person that reacts or fixes the problem. Or ends the problem, ends the fight. But I wasn't fighting, I was just fixing. So then she calls me over and she says, tell me to stay after class. If I stay, what can I do? So I stay and I tell her, such and such a girl, she puts things in her mouth. She threw something in my pants. You think I'm gonna leave her? You think I'm gonna leave it there? No. And I said, excuse me, could you move her so this doesn't happen again? So they moved her away. And they put her in front. The class by herself, completely isolated from all people, which worked. So I'm going to tell you another one that's funny because, my senior year, I ended up in the home economics. I went there because I was taking 6 electives in a couple periods. So I was taking a bunch of classes. So I took home ec. And I was asked to go to a fashion show, So what I did was I got myself like I put a tuxedo shirt on, a bow tie, and a bow tie and a coat and a jacket. So I went to school. I went to school at night. We put on our clothes and went to school at night. We did one night show for funds, and we did another one. We did another 6. No, we did 5. No, sorry, we did 4. We did 4 daytime shows, which meant all day we were dressed in ties and jackets, and the girls were dressed in heels and dresses and makeup and all this. Nice. So we were walking around school with this. So we would sit in the auditorium. We would sit outside the gym, outside the auditorium during the bell pass, during class pass. But during the last 2, during the 5th period, which is a lunch period, no, 4th period, which is a lunch period, they didn't do the show. So we got ourselves a break. I went in early and got my lunch. I got me a 2 slices of pizza and a Coke. So I went and ate. I took my jacket off, whatever. So I scarfed my food down. I hadn't finished my soda yet, but I had to run back in the building, and I had to go put my jacket back on. We had to go and my bow tie and stuff, because we had to go get a picture taken, the group. So I went in there and got my picture taken, and she goes, "Okay, guys, go to class." So I go to class. I'm not finished with my soda because I'm dealing with all this, the pictures and all these things. So then, here's what happened. So then I walk in and she complains. The same teacher, one of the teachers complained because I got a soda. I said, "Excuse me, I just had my lunch. I get my lunch. That's the end of my lunch." So then she decides that, okay, puts it on top of the table. Because she startles me, I just put it on top of the table with the person that spits. That's not good. So then moves it away. I'm like, okay, fine. But what I'm telling you here is that we as disabled people end up dealing with a lot of stuff that even able-bodied students wouldn't deal with. It's so annoying. With that, thank you for listening, and I hope this third one finally goes, because I've done that. I've recorded this 3 times. This is the third one. I erased the first one was too low. The second one I erased by accident, and now this is the third one. Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening to my stories here. These are experiences of my life. So please rate and follow me and subscribe so you can know when I post. Actually, I post on Wednesday, and actually I update on Wednesday and on Saturday. I hope Saturday I have a special guest coming on board with me today. That day, I have to communicate with him on Wednesday to see what's happening. With that, thank you for listening, and I'll be back on Sat. I'll be back with another upload on Saturday, no matter what happens.